Okay, so good morning. So get your coffee and let's read the word. Okay, so we stopped. We're in Joshua. We're in Joshua 3 right now, and so we stopped with the spies talking to Rahab and giving her ways for them to know not to destroy her house and ruin, kill her brothers, her sisters, her whole family. Okay? So, but before they can even get to that point, they're still camped out on the other side of the Jordan River. So we need to get them from the one side of the Jordan River to the other. So some miraculous things happen in Joshua 3 and 4. Okay? So let's dig on in. Okay? So it says, early in the morning, Joshua and all the Israelites set out from Shittim and went to the Jordan, where they camped before crossing over. After 3 days, number 3 is a very important thing, the officers went throughout the camp, giving orders to the people. When you see the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord your God, and the Levitical priests carrying it, you are to move out from your positions and follow it. Then you will know which way to go, since you have never been this way before. But keep a distance of about 2,000 cubits between you and the ark. Do not go near it. Because remember, when they were talking about building the Ark of the Covenant and everything, that that only certain priests can go on in, be in the presence of the Ark of the Covenant. So that's why I said do not go near it. So when we see 2,000 cubits and we convert it to our standardized measurement, it is about half a mile. Joshua told the people, consecrate yourselves for tomorrow. The Lord will do amazing things among you. Joshua said to the priests, take up the Ark of the Covenant and pass on ahead of the people. So they took it and went on ahead of them. And the Lord said to Joshua, today I will begin to exalt you in the eyes of all Israel, so they may know that I am with you, as I was with Moses. Tell the priests who carry the Ark of the Covenant, when they reach the edge of the Jordan's river, go ahead and stand in the river. So tell them something inspiring that they want to do this, okay? Joshua said to the Israelites, come here and listen to the words of the Lord your God. This is how you know that the living God is among you, and that he will certainly drive out before you the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Hivites, Perizzites, Girgashites, Amorites, and Jebusites. See, the Ark of the Covenant of all the Lord of all the earth will go into the Jordan ahead of you. Now then, choose 12 men from the tribes of Israel, one from each tribe, and as soon as the priests who carry the Ark of the Lord of all the earth, set foot in the Jordan, its waters flowing downstream will be cut off and stand in a heap. Okay, so when it says Lord of all earth, that is the term Adonai, which translates to Lord or Master, which just shows that he is the sovereign of all the entire universes. That's what they're trying to show. Okay? So when the people broke camp to cross the Jordan, the priests carrying the Ark of the Covenant went ahead of them. Now the Jordan was at flood stage during the harvest. So that means it was at peak depth. So there was a lot of water. So it was not when it was in a dry season. It was when it was very fertile and there was a lot of water in there. Yet, as soon as the priests who touched the ark reached the Jordan and their feet touched the water's edge, the water from upstream stopped flowing. It piled up in a heap a great distance away at a town called Adam, in the vicinity of Zarephath, while the water flowing down to the Sea of the Arabah, that is, the Dead Sea, was completely cut off. So the people crossing over opposite Jericho. The priests who carried the Ark of the Covenant and the Lord stopped in the middle of the Jordan and stood on dry ground while all the Israel passed by until the whole nation had completely completed the crossing of the dry ground. So, once again, God stopped a river for his people to cross. Okay? So, Dead Sea. I'm going to go, it says Sea of Arabah is another name for the Dead Sea. This is where Jordan flows from the north. Okay, wait, hold on, sorry. In which Jordan flows from the north. It's the lowest place on earth. It's 1,286 feet below sea level. There's no outlet and loses its water by evaporation. So it has a lot of salt and other minerals. So that is called Dead Sea because no wildlife can live in it. So no fish can live in it because of how high of a salt concentration it has. Okay, so let's continue. We're on Joshua 4. Then we're going to finish Joshua 4. And then tomorrow we will, or the next time we meet, I will be doing Joshua 5 and 6. 6 is when it starts to get really, really interesting. This is interesting, but it gets really interesting in 6. When the whole nation had finished crossing the Jordan, the Lord said to Joshua, "Choose 12 men from among the people, one from each tribe, and tell them to take up 12 stones from the middle of the Jordan, from right where the priests are standing, and carry them over with you, and put them down at the place where they stayed tonight." So Joshua called together the 12 men he had appointed from the Israelites, one from each tribe, and said to them, "Go over before the ark of the Lord your God into the middle of the Jordan. Each of you is to take up a stone on his shoulder, according to the number of tribes of the Israelites, to serve as a sign among you. In the future, when your children ask, 'What do these stones mean?' tell them the flow of the Jordan was cut off before the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord. When it crossed the Jordan, the waters of the Jordan were cut off. These stones are to be a memorial of the people of Israel forever." So this is a way for them to remember the miracles of God. So the Israelites did as Joshua commanded them. They took 12 stones from the middle of the Jordan, according to the number of tribes of the Israelites, as the Lord had told Joshua, and they carried them over to their camp, where they put them down. Joshua set up the 12 stones where they had been in the middle of the Jordan, at the spot where the priests had where the priests had carried the Ark of the Covenant stood, and they are there to this day. Now, the priests who carried the ark remained standing in the middle of the Jordan while everything the Lord had commanded Joshua was done by the people, just as Moses had directed Joshua. The people hurried over. So this is going back to Joshua 3. The crossing. This is just them hurrying over, getting crossing over, because it's showing that they are being obedient to what God has told them. Okay. So it says, now the priests who carried the ark remained standing in the middle of the Jordan, while everything the Lord had commanded Joshua was done by the people, just as Moses had directed Joshua. The people hurried over, and as soon as all of them had crossed, the ark of the Lord and the priests came to the other side, while the other people watched. The men of Reuben, Gad, and the half-tribe of Manasseh, crossed over, ready for battle in front of the Israelites, as Moses had directed them. About 40,000 armed for battle crossed over before the Lord to the plains of the Jericho for war. That day the Lord exalted Joshua in the sight of all Israel, and they stood in awe of him all the days of his life, just as they had stood in awe of Moses. Then the Lord, once again, so this is when it says the Lord exalted him. That means that he proclaimed him as the one that he had chosen to take over for Moses. Okay. Then the Lord said to Joshua, "Command the priests carrying the Ark of the Covenant law to come up out of the Jordan." So Joshua commanded the priests, "Come out of the Jordan." And the priests came up out of the river, carrying the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord. No sooner had they set their feet on the dry ground, then the waters of the Jordan returned to the place and ran at flood stages before. So it says the covenant law in 16. It says, command the priest carrying the Ark of Covenant law to come out of the Jordan. So when it says that, that is talking about the Ten Commandments. Okay? So it's talking about the Ten Commandments. And on the 10th day of the first month, the people went up from the Jordan and camped at Gilgal on the eastern border of Jericho. And Joshua set up at Gilgal the 12 stones they had taken out of the Jordan. He said to the Israelites, in the future, when your descendants ask their parents, what do these stones mean? Tell them Israel crossed the Jordan on the dry ground. Okay, so this is showing them that they need to have a fear of God, but at the same time realize all the miracles that God has done for them. Okay? And so it says, the scriptures are full of stories of acts God performed that built up the respect of the people for him. The awesome things God did were told to each new generation to develop respect for who God is. The miracle was performed not only for the purpose of getting the Israelites across the Jordan, but also a sign to all the peoples of the power of God. They didn't have books, they didn't have social media, they didn't have TV, they didn't have radio. There was no other way for the people of God to know what kind of miraculous things he had done, other than doing oral history, passing the stories on from generation to generation. Okay. In the future, when your descendants ask their parents, what do the stones mean? Tell them Israel crossed the Jordan on dry ground. So the Lord your God dried up the Jordan before you until you had crossed over. The Lord your God did to Jordan what he had done to the Red Sea. And when he dried it up before us until we had crossed over. He did this so that all the peoples on earth might know that the hand of the Lord is powerful, and so that you may always fear the Lord your God. Okay, so I'm going to dig a little bit deeper into the culture and history of crossing the Jordan from Joshua 3, and then with that, and then we will be finished. Okay, so they're crossing over opposite of where Jericho was. So Jericho was located on the Jordan River. And so the town of Adam, which was also called Tel Ed Daye, was about 16 miles north of the point where they crossed. Okay? And there was a lot of water. So there was like very high banks there because there was a lot of water. And it's very unstable in that region. So it is on a tectonic plate, so earthquakes are very frequent there. Last one was about 100 years ago, and so not frequent, but not as like what we might think is frequent. Okay, 100-foot, and when the 1927 quake happened, it was a 150-foot high embankment collapsed, blocking the waters for 21 hours. So there's been other times this happened. And all these are AD: 1906, 1834, 1546, 1267, and 1160. So what they're thinking that they have discovered is that when the archaeologists went in there, that there was a tremor at that time, maybe a mini earthquake type of thing that stopped the river at that point. And then they were able to cross because the water was blocked. And then there was another tremor when the walls of Jericho came down. Okay, so with that, be blessed. Have a great day. Pray over what was read. Read it for yourself. Maybe you'll discover something new, better than what I've discovered, read to you. With that, as I said, be blessed. Have an awesome day. Bye.